sustainable liquidity, inject liquidity, voting controller, and growth without dumping. The biggest problem in crypto projects. One of the biggest problems in the crypto market is easy to identify: poorly managed liquidity. In many projects, tokens remain in human wallets, decisions are made without clear criteria, and the result is almost always the same: unexpected dumps, abrupt price drops, loss of trust. MIMHO was designed from the very beginning to avoid exactly this scenario. The concept of liquidity in MIMHO. In MIMHO, liquidity is not something that someone simply decides to add. Liquidity is planned, voted, executed by smart contracts, and always within clear limits. Inject liquidity, custody without withdrawal. Inject liquidity is the contract that holds tokens intended exclusively for future liquidity injection. Fundamental rule: white right pointing backhand index, there is no withdrawal function. Tokens cannot be transferred manually, be sent to wallets, be reused for other purposes. They can only leave the contract to add liquidity to a pool, following rules approved by the DAO. Why this is important? This completely eliminates token misuse, emergency liquidity without criteria, decisions made in the heat of the moment. In MIMHO, no one simply decides to inject liquidity. The process is always collective and predictable. The role of the voting controller. The voting controller is responsible for coordinating this process. It defines when a vote can take place, the minimum interval between injections, maximum limits per operation. This prevents excessive injections, proposal spam, abuse of power. How the community decides a liquidity injection. The flow is simple. A liquidity injection proposal is created. The community evaluates the context. Voting happens on-chain. If approved, the injection is authorized. The inject liquidity contract executes. There is no automatic execution without approval. Cooldowns and safety limits. Even with approval, limits still apply. Minimum interval between injections. Maximum amount per operation. Global rules defined in the strategy hub. This ensures that the market has time to absorb liquidity. There is no supply shock. Growth remains organic. Authorization is not a promise. It is important to be clear. A liquidity injection authorization is not a promise of immediate execution. It only indicates that the action is allowed within the current rules at the appropriate moment. Transparency without creating artificial expectations. LP tokens are always burned. Whenever a liquidity injection happens, LP tokens are sent to be burned. This means permanent liquidity, no possibility of future removal, no human control over the pool. Liquidity that enters, stays. Benefits for holders. For those who hold MIMHO, this brings less artificial volatility, more predictable growth, protection against impulsive decisions. There are no surprises. Everything is voted, recorded, and verifiable on-chain. Relationship with the strategy hub. Liquidity rules are not scattered across multiple contracts. They are centralized in the strategy hub. This allows parameter adjustments without redeploying contracts, reaction to market changes, structural security, flexibility with responsibility. MIMHO liquidity does not depend on individual decisions. It depends on planning, governance, code. In the next video, we will talk about white right pointing backhand index MIMHO Mart, the marketplace, and how NFTs and utilities connect to the ecosystem. Always on-chain. Always verifiable.